right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Let's get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial, and this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
New development in the UFO murders, and now there's as many as 11 UFO experts, people that are top-level clearances on secret government programs related to recovery of unidentified aerial objects, nuclear power reactors that are apparently being put in spacecrafts, reverse engineering of alien technology. This stuff sounds crazy, but there's government departments looking into this stuff, and people from these departments keep going missing or wind up being murdered or offing themselves. Yeah, right. Now, a bunch of new information has come out about one of those people that we spoke about in a previous video, Dr. Amy Eskridge, and there's some chilling messages that she apparently sent to a friend before offing herself, where she said she would never do that, and that she was getting numerous death threats daily, and that she basically knew that people were onto her because of the technology that she had been researching. It sounds absolutely crazy, but when I show you what's in this video, you will not believe it, okay? So look. Apparently, the father has reached out, basically put out, saying, rejecting the suspicions about her death. But then there's more and more stuff coming out from friends and colleagues saying that no, she absolutely would not have done this to herself. So I'm going to play you a few clips. I'm going to show you some stuff about her, and it's going to chill you blood.
Well, there is now an 11th scientist with connections to top secret government secrets who has died or gone missing within the last 4 years under mysterious conditions. And conspiracy theories are ballooning online. President Trump even addressing the ongoing mystery yesterday, confirming the U.S. government is looking into it.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be done. Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next
National correspondent Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles. So Nancy, what do we know about this possible 11th case?
Well, Nicole, just before her death in 2022, Amy Eskridge had announced plans to present her groundbreaking work with anti-gravity technology. The 34-year-old had been openly experimenting in the field and founded a research company called the Institute for Exotic Science to establish a more public space for developments in anti-gravity work. Her death from a supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound has long been questioned, since she had expressed that her life was in danger at the time. Eskridge worked closely with her father. And according to NASA, Richard Eskridge is a retired engineer whose many projects included novel work on a system to propel a spacecraft with high-speed plasmoids. Well, I spoke with him briefly today, and he dismissed any link between the death of his daughter to the 10 other scientists who mysteriously died or gone missing over the past few years. All had links to government secrets and programs tied to military defense and UFOs. Richard Eskridge, he did not want to be interviewed, but he told me on the phone, scientists die also, just like other people. Nicole?
All right, so Nancy, there are already questions before this newest one. We even have lawmakers weighing in. I mean, what more can you tell us about maybe what happens next?
Yeah, well, the mystery surrounding these scientists, it's definitely taken on a life of its own on the web, where all kinds of conspiracy theories abound. There's even talk of a murder conspiracy targeting people who supposedly know too much. Two of the scientists' deaths are cases of murder, and a number of disappearances are people who weren't considered suicidal. In the case of Monica Resza, the experienced hiker went missing during a hike last year here in Southern California. She had worked with General William McCasland, a so-called UFO gatekeeper who also went missing just 2 months ago. Now, we just got a statement from Republican Congressman Eric Burleson, who's among those pushing for answers. He tells News Nation, these are some of the most advanced scientists and researchers in our nation working on critical national security efforts, and several have mysteriously disappeared. This is too coincidental, and we have to be investigating this.
Crazy, all right? So it's finally being talked about. You heard about it on this channel first, because we've been talking about this for a few weeks now, probably a few months now. But Trump's finally talked about it. He said, I hope that it's not. I hope that it's not. Now, look, a lot of people are speculating that this could actually be the Chinese. It could be a hostile government basically looking to get people at the highest levels of defense technology either taken out or captured so that they can get all of the facts that they were working on, top-level secure information that should not be falling in the hands of a hostile foreign nation. But there's a lot of disturbing features about this particular story. Investigative journalist Ross Coulthard basically detailed several strange and disturbing events that occurred in Amy Eskridge's life shortly before her mysterious death.
I actually spoke to Amy Eskridge. I don't think she killed herself. I do think there's a very high likelihood she was murdered. I've got a very good friend who was a very, very good friend of hers who was being sent emails by her in the months prior to her death where she genuinely feared that somebody was trying to hurt her or kill her. And I've got photographs, harrowing photographs of burns that she allegedly suffered from some kind of directed energy weapon that she believes was directed at her from the street through the window of the office that she was working in. And they are harrowing images showing burns on her hands where literally there's a red mark that starts just from her hands, and it's as if her hands across a keyboard were being irradiated with something. I do think that the instance of the Amy Eskridge case is quite extraordinary. There's a whole lot of unexplained stuff. The difficulty is that her body was apparently cremated shortly after her death. Her family, and I have no wish to cause her family any hurt, her family do, I understand, believe that she committed suicide. I don't want to speak for the family or purport to speak for the family because it's always a tragedy when anyone loses a loved one. The terrible thing is there was no full coronial inquiry. I did make inquiries with local police about why there wasn't going to be a full coronial inquiry, and it was because of the finding of suicide. I feel very sad about the Amy Eskridge death. She was a brilliant woman. She was, at times, unstable. She was a big drinker, but I don't think she killed herself. I truly don't think she killed herself. I'm sorry if that upsets the family, but I think she was a wonderful human being. She was making claims that she was making advances in anti-gravitic technology and propulsion systems, and of course her father is, I'm not sure if he still is, a senior NASA engineer. It's a great tragedy that she was lost. She was a beautiful, brilliant young woman. And yes, she's one of multiple scientists I have spoken to or am speaking to who purport to be working on alternative propulsion systems.
So it's crazy, right? He doesn't believe that she did this to herself either. Okay, no disrespect to the family, but that's what he thinks. Okay, it is very, very spooky, all right? It is very, very spooky. So just 1 month before her passing, if you remember in that interview that I just showed you, he was talking about she had burns and she believed she was affected by a radiation device that was outside of her property. It sounds crazy, but just 1 month before she passed away, just a month before she allegedly took herself out, she sent a series of alarming text messages to close friends and colleagues expressing her growing fears about surveillance, her personal safety, and these attacks on her health. Okay, I've got them for you here. So here's all the messages and pictures of her injuries. I'm going to go through all of it for you guys because this is so chilling. And there's more coming later. You're not going to believe it, all right? So on May the 3rd, Amy Eskridge sent the following message at 5:04 a.m. The boots on the ground's guerrilla tactics are absolutely insane for any high-value target that shows their face in public in Huntsville right now. I really don't think I've ever seen it this bad before. That's really saying something. I'd heard there were new units, outside units deployed in town since just before the conflict started. Oh my God, I believe it. I can see it. The active warfare is currently in Europe, but I've seen it shockwave into the local coffee shops and bars. Like, it's just ridiculous to show up in public anymore if you're on a certain type of target list, like just freaking stay home. I've never seen anything like it. May the 10th, she said, have always insisted there isn't much difference in our intelligence. The primary difference is the chosen field of expertise. She said, I could take some wild guesses that at the non-Ivan countries, so she's saying non-Russian affiliated countries. Obviously, this is all about the conflict with the Russians, and maybe it's the Russians. This is peak Ukraine war kind of times when this was going on, I believe, 2020.
Real quick, understand what's going on. You in here with your boy Dealatofficial, my fam. And this is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, become a member today. It's only one way to do it. We're here to save your life. You understand what I'm saying? I said double tap that screen. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And share this with the world. Feel me, fam? So don't get it twisted and understand what's going on in here. All right, now listen, this is the situation. 11 scientists. They either unalive, missing, or going through something. But it ain't no coincidence. Somebody got some information that somebody either don't want, or don't want to let out, or they do want to let it out. But at the end of the day, this is just like the movies. And what we say, the movies come from reality. And you would have never thought we hearing something about 11. These are people that changes the world. These are scientists. They trying to figure out everything. And whatever they figured out is so important that somebody been coming up missing regardless. You can go to my description on this video, and it will show you each name of each person and how they passed away, or even if they are still alive and in the land of the living. So here we are talking about scientists that's come up missing, unalive, or their life is highly at risk. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We cook it.
Too. She might be suggesting that the Russians or the Chinese, but when she says non-Ivan countries, she's talking about those countries in the Russian sphere of influence. Affiliated countries. Obviously, this is all about the conflict with the Russians, and maybe it's the Russians. This is peak Ukraine war kind of times when this was going on, I believe 2022. She might be suggesting that the Russians or the Chinese, but when she says non-Ivan countries, she's talking about those countries in the Russian sphere of influence. She says, I could take some wild guesses at the non-Ivan countries that have been leaning in pretty hard. I probably wouldn't be too far off base. The Russians are smart enough to not try and befriend me directly. They are more of the silently tailing on the ground types. There are plenty of others that would try and befriend you directly. So she's saying other hostile governments that aren't Russia will be trying to befriend her and socially engineer her so that they can get close to her and get her secrets or get her out of the way. She said, that's the main thing I've seen recently. The social engineering attempts in public are through the damn roof at the moment. It's always been kind of like that around here, but it's never been quite this bad. It's almost absurd. A group of anywhere between 2 to 6 people will walk into a location, usually 30 minutes after I sit down, and the whole group will take turns one at a time, rotating through the empty seat next to me, repeatedly asking me the same questions over and over again. I deflect one, then the next one sits down. They even all use the same opening line between them all as if they all read the same briefing material. I mean, really, holy shit. So she's saying that foreign agents are being sent, and this is a town where a whole bunch of people work on the military bases and the, secret research facilities related to space engineering, and they're sending foreign agents in to try and befriend them.
Shout out to Fitness Connect. Hit that like button, subscribe right now, family. Double tap that screen, subscribe right now. Fam says in the TV series Colony, they were disappearing high-level individuals right before their arrival. Now, see, that's what I'm saying, and they putting it out there. So when you're looking at these TV hit series, again, they putting it on our eyes. I just talked about Orphan Black. Let me write that down. I just talked about Orphan Black. Orphan Black discusses nothing but clones. It's about 10 different of the same girl. So when we're talking about that, I appreciate you letting us know that Fitness Connect. Really appreciate. That's what we're doing here. We understanding, informing, and being aware. Let's go.
Social engineering. She says it used to be noticeable, but much more subtle. They've been pulling out this much more aggressive good cop, bad cop strategy lately. God,
Now, this is the lady, Amy, who has come up unalive, and she is the one that is expressing herself in the email about these agents that keep pulling up on her in groups. And they all rotate one by one, asking her questions, and it's basically just running up her blood pressure. Let's go. But the thing is that he's trying to tell you is that this is how bad it's gotten. Let's go.
One of them aggressively trolls and insults me for no particular reason. Then his buddy grabs my hand to apologize for his asshole friend and then asks me if I'd like to go somewhere else to talk about it. Fuck no, I'm not walking out the parking lot with any of you right now. Stop asking me. You can all just F right off. What the hell's going on here? I say the profiling has been much more detailed as well lately. They've been taking on character avatars, which they think I'm likely to trust. like sitting down next to me and claiming to be DIA, as if any DIA personnel would just casually introduce themselves like that in public. Please, damn, it's so aggressive and annoying. The Huntsville social scene has always been kind of like that to some extent, but it's totally unreal at the moment. Then she says, the Israelis, though, holy shit, I personally think they've been playing both sides between the US and Russia. I recently went to the dentist for my routine cleaning and exam. The hygienist pulled up my dental insurance information to see how often I had dental x-rays covered. She asked how I liked my job at some company that I'd never heard of. I was like, what? Then she showed me the information on the computer screen. My dental insurance company had my employer listed as an Israeli technology company at the Mamat Technology Center in Haifa, Israel. What the fuck? I do not see how that information could be entered into my records by some type of routine accidental typo. Seems like someone in Israel has been recently requesting my dental records, and they faked an employer address for me in Israel to do it. Jesus, that's...
See, she's dealing with some real ones. Because fam just said, she went to the dentist, and at the dentist location right now, her whole life is at the dentist information. They up there looking up cavities, and they like, oh, my bad, you work at Solution Innovation Tech? And she like, how did that get up there? That's how you know real ones is coming for you. Because your regular information about your teeth got your job information under your teeth information. The Israelis been looking this woman up, talking about, you know how they be like, I don't care. I want his family dead. I want his everything. I want to know everything about him. I want to know everything. I want to know where his mom stay, his daddy stay. I want to know what he eats. I want to know when he cheats. I want to know when his teeth clean. I want to know when his barber is. That's them. So she was hot from the jump. See, this is what I be talking about, fam. Because you will see retarded people thinking that you got these type of people coming for you, and you think it's a game. And she on her in an email talking to this dude like it's regular. This ain't no game. These people come up, they know your job from your dentist history. What? Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go, fam.
Just absurd. I can only think of a handful of reasons for foreign nation state to social engineer their way into obtaining my dental records, and none of them are good. That's so scary. She said this happened with my dentist thinking that I was employed at some technology center in Haifa, Israel.
Okay, now I'm glad we was able to see that. Now check this out.
Oh. Bombshell tonight, we learned the FBI is probing 11 U.S. space scientists either dead or missing. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
The White House and FBI are investigating a string of suspicious deaths and disappearances of at least 11 U.S. scientists, many of whom are involved in classified aerospace, nuclear, and defense research.
Joining us tonight, Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack. Dave Mack, what more can you tell us?
Nancy, we have two more names of scientists, military insiders who are now missing or dead. Two more to add to that list. These are some of the most amazing things we've seen yet. First of all, Matthew Sullivan, a 39-year-old former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer, and a 29-year-old NASA nuclear scientist, Joshua LeBlanc. Matthew Sullivan was scheduled to testify in a whistleblower hearing that was taking place on Capitol Hill. Think about it. A hearing for whistleblowers about UFOs and UFO intelligence within the military. And before he had a chance to testify at that whistleblower hearing, Matthew Sullivan, dead. The circumstances of his death are being questioned by many close to him, but he's gone. NASA nuclear engineer, 29-year-old Joshua LeBlanc, Huntsville, Alabama. Like many of those who have gone missing, Joshua LeBlanc, at 29 years old, was reported missing around 4:30 in the morning. He left his wallet, keys, phone, stuff like that at home, but he was gone, and his family couldn't find him. He didn't show up for work. They were concerned. All day long, Huntsville police were looking for Joshua LeBlanc. This nuclear scientist who was working on nuclear propulsion for NASA was missing all day. 2:45 that afternoon, a fiery crash involving Joshua LeBlanc's Tesla. The crash was so bad, he hit a guardrail, crashed into some trees. His body not even identifiable for 3 days. When they finally got into the investigation, they were able to go into the Tesla Sentry mode and found out his vehicle, this Tesla, was parked at the Huntsville airport for 4 hours the morning he was reported missing. Just 4 hours. And then later on, dead. So 2 more odd to explain deaths in the mystery surrounding the scientists that have gone missing or dead recently.
Deep research into anti-gravity jet propulsion, into special alloys made for high-intensity heat, an alloy called Mondelez, and so much more. Ideas and theories that most of us have never imagined that under their skill and expertise were actually coming true until they go missing or are found dead. 11 that we know of. Many of them I've been able to connect 1, 2, 3, 4 to McCasland, General Neil McCasland, who oversaw funding and research, who was seeing over, commanding an entire Air Force base, but also was in charge of funding and overseeing research into many of these projects, joining us, an all-star panel, to make sense of what we are learning tonight. I want to go straight out to special guest joining us, Chris Malore, Deputy Science Editor for Daily Mail. What is happening? Many people thought that this was fantastical, but it's not. And now the FBI has joined the probe, and I would like to add, in stark departure from normal FBI tactics, which we saw out in the Nancy Guthrie case. Remember, the FBI did not enter into the investigation until they were invited by Sheriff Nanos, who took his sweet time doing it and screwed up the investigation. Here, they have jumped in feet first into the disappearance of General McCasland, which opens up an entire can of worms into the other 10 scientists, and that's 10 that we know of, Chris Malore.
That's right, Nancy. Actually, this has been something that has been pushed by a lot on Capitol Hill. We've spoken to Congressman Eric Burleson and Tim Burchett at length, and they've been pushing for this investigation. A lot of the initial investigations were done by local police, and the congressmen have definitely pushed this into the forefront for a federal investigation as of late.
Many have been found dead. Many just simply disappear. And they disappear under very unusual circumstances. They are connected. That's where I start all criminal investigations, with connectivity. Is there anything linking them? And to you, Brian Fitzgibbons joining us, Director of Operations, USPA Nationwide Security, who leads a team of investigators finding missing people, former Marine, Iraqi war vet. Brian, many people say these are not connected, but I, from over 1,000 miles away from where they went missing, have been able to connect 5 of them, 4 connected to General Neil McCasland. Much happening out of the New Mexico jurisdiction, New Mexico and California. Listen to these connections and how the people went missing. Let's just start with Melissa Casillas, administrator at the Los Alamos National Laboratory and the AFRL. So you've got the Air Force Lab, the Air Force Research Lab, and Los Alamos Nuclear Lab. She worked there. She worked with Chavez, Los Alamos Nuclear Lab, and AFRL. Monica Jacinto Resza worked at the AFRL, Air Force Research Lab. General McCasland oversaw, actually ran, commandeered the AFRL, including the funding, specifically Resza's project. Stephen Garcia, government contractor, built parts for nuclear weapons connected to the AFRL. Well, I can connect more, but listen to how Melissa Casillas goes missing. She takes her daughter a Subway sandwich for lunch. She says she's going to work from home. She is spotted on camera, surveillance cam, leaving around 2 p.m. in the afternoon there in New Mexico. She never went for a walk in the heat. She took no cell phone, no keys, no identifying objects. Never seen again. Walking briskly eastbound. A shoe that may belong to her was found in a canyon. Even though cadaver dogs and scent dogs were brought out, nothing. Then you've got Monica Jacinto Resza. She got her funding from AFRL, and she was specializing in jet propulsion. She is on a hike in the LA National Forest. She's with a friend, a female friend who's just ahead of her. The friend looks back. She waves and smiles. A few minutes later, she looks back. Monica's gone. Gone. An intense digital search and more was conducted.
What? That ain't what? No, hold up. That ain't making no sense. Hold up. Let's make it make sense. What? You said they just, oh, look. Wait a minute, fam. Wait a minute, fam. Let's get order here. You said that they looked up, said hi. She waved at her. She looked back. They looked back up at her. She gone. Vanished. Like a thief in the night.
Nothing. In the space of 10 minutes, she's gone. McCasland, General William Neal McCasland, who oversaw funding, is at home. In the space of less than 1 hour, Fitzgibbons, he disappears. His wife sees him, a repairman sees him. The wife leaves for a hair appointment around 11:04 a.m. She comes back around 12:04 a.m. p.m. He's gone. He leaves without his cell phone, his keys, a smartwatch which would have identified him and tracked him. He leaves behind those prescription glasses you see him wearing. He takes nothing to identify him, but he does take a .38 and he's wearing a pair of hiking boots. Listen to this. Sometime later, a gray Air Force sweatshirt is found discarded by the side of the road. The only thing that would have identified him as being with the Air Force is found discarded. There's Steve Garcia. Again, goes for a walk and never comes back. Leaving behind phone, watch, ID, you name it. How can these not be connected, Brian Fitzgibbons? And there's more.
You know, hey, there's a lack of obvious risk factors for a missing persons or a suicide case with all of these individuals that you've named. They have economic stability, government jobs with pensions. They have professional status, highly educated, highly influential in their fields, many of them. And then you add the caveat that they're connected, not loosely, but intimately connected through Air Force research labs and specific projects within that research function. And then you add in the additional caveat that a number of them have gone missing with the same circumstances, leaving Apple Watch and phone behind. This is highly alarming and ought to be investigated thoroughly by the FBI.
You know, what's interesting, Brian, is that
now, to me, let me say this, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Listen to me. If they don't, then you know who's involved with this. Because let me tell you something. They've been known about this. It's just come out to the public now. And the fact that it's out there like that, they have to look into it. They may not put so much on it, but they have to look into it. Now, think about this for a minute, man. Let's not play these games, fam. Ain't no ducks in here. We ain't stupid. Somebody that came in and snatched these people up out their house. Let's just call it what it is, allegedly. But ain't no way that you looking at a woman talk in the same building, turn your head, turn back. Nobody hears from her no more. There's no way that she just walked off and just ain't coming back no more. There's no way this man take a walk and he leave everything and don't come back. Where he go? especially if he don't have no belongings. This man was in the house with his wife and somebody else, and all of a sudden he missing. And they just seen him 1 minute ago in the house. So all of a sudden they find your clothes by the side of the road, and we sitting in here playing dumb, like we gonna keep acting like these stupid ass people stupid. Ain't nobody dumb, fam. These people get snatched up one by one by somebody in secret, by some organization that's choosing to get at them for reasons that they don't even want these people to speak up. Have you ever not thought that because you know what you know, you can't live no more? You work for the most highest in the world, and now you're doing something that's off the chain, and now you can't even work no more because you know something everybody else don't. That's what's going on with these scientists. This man took a walk, he missing. This man in the house with his wife, he missing. This woman is in a building with the same people, laughing and chuckling up. They turn their head, turn back, she missing. That is a professional coming in, cleaning house. And you know what's so stupid about the government, fam? Y'all put all these movies out, all of these streams, all of these TV series, letting us know how they will snatch you up. I mean, did you not think we're not looking at these movies knowing that that's how they operate? If you look at this movie, you can say, okay, that's how they get down. And then we hearing this on TV right behind it. Clearly, we got to take notes from the movies, man. I mean, it's that simple. Just take notes. Some secret service of some type of some 007, some hitman, somebody coming in snatching these old people up. Because these old people, ain't nobody young on here. These old people, man. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. If you think I'm lying, hit 1. But if you think I'm lying, you died, stupid.
Talking about the ones that are missing. The others are dead. A couple of them found submerged in bodies of water. Straight out to John Nance joining us, former supervisory special agent with the FBI for over 20 years. John, thank you for being with us tonight. John, why is it the FBI typically waits to be invited in on a local investigation? Why is that?
Well, the FBI doesn't have federal jurisdiction or primary jurisdiction in murder cases. There are some exceptions to that, but that's essentially why you don't see the FBI taking the lead role immediately in cases of that nature. But when it comes to matters like this, especially with the McCasland disappearance, I think this directly implicates national security issues. In the first part of my career, I spent as a counterintelligence agent. And I can tell you from that perspective, the correlations that we see here are extremely disturbing. And I'm sure that's why Patel's FBI has gone into overdrive with conducting investigations into these matters. Particularly interesting is Amy Eskridge's case and what Frank Milburn had to say with regard to her, the use of directed energy weapons, things of that nature. I think all these things are going to be looked at and analyzed with a fine-tooth comb, so to speak, by the FBI.
Their research, Mr. Nance, was so advanced, it's beyond what many of us can even imagine. For instance, Amy Eskridge, allegedly dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This is after she texted friends saying, if I am found dead, I did not commit suicide.
So when somebody like Jocelyn Hernandez talk about Lee Lemon Pepper and talking about, oh, if they unalive me, I'm in Miami and he did it. And this really happened. She just told her partner, look, bro, if I ain't here tonight, I ain't do it. But then all of a sudden they talking about she self-inflicted her death. Ain't nobody doing shit about this either. I mean, this is seriously diabolic work, man. That ain't nobody saying nothing about. They doing the movies on us. And then this woman, right? Look at this woman. This woman was taken out by somebody. And that's how you know who did it, fam, because they got her saying she self-inflicted herself. So we know who did this. We know ain't no niggas in the street did this, because they don't operate like that. See, this is how they tell on folks. Because they tell you how they do it. Niggas in the street messy. They turbo. They spin a block, they leave everybody there, get up out of there, start smoking some weed, whatever. Hitman gonna hit you from afar. You ain't even gonna know who did it. And you ain't even gonna have no story. You just gonna be out, stanking wherever you got hit from. If they send somebody for you, just like the movies, they coming in through the back door, they coming in quiet, they're gonna mop you off and then they're gonna wipe that off, and then they're gonna act like you, they're gonna put your, you better listen to me, they're gonna put your hands on the weapon. You know who do that in the movies, don't you? When they sit there, come in and off you and then take your hands and put it on the weapon for the fingerprints and wipe theirs off and get up out of there, that's who did this. Pick a movie. This wasn't Boys in the Hood. This was 007. Stop playing with folk. What? This is serious, man. That's somebody's mama, man. That's somebody's cousin, auntie, sister, man. And they did her like that and left her stinking somewhere and said that she did it to herself. The shame and the nerve. I know her family got to be hurt. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We cooking in there for Ray out.
She was working on anti-gravity jet propulsion.
Anti-gravity jet propulsion.
Amazing. It's specifically, she was working with her father on an idea she wanted to present to NASA. And it dealt with a craft, an aircraft called TR-3B, T-Toy.
Let me tell you how you know who did this. Just like they did them folk back in the day. Take your land, they took your land, and then tried to tell and sell it back to you. That's who did it. They've been doing it all our lives. Robbing us and then selling it back to us to live in what we already own. So we know who did this. They made that woman look this up, create this patent of something new, and they said, oh, thank you so much for that information. Bah! Get up out of here, partner. You won't be the reason why that came out. You won't be the owner. You won't be the creator. You understand? They stole her idea, took it from her, got rid of her, and now they're going to tell the world that they was the ones that came up with it. Now they ain't got to worry about paying her. They ain't got to worry about no patents. They ain't got to worry about nothing. And can't nobody do nothing about it because everybody going to act like they don't know who did it when we know who did it. We can't put that specific finger on the trigger, but we know the body that told a human to go do it. You feel me? I'm telling you, fam. And they got to be ashamed. And I wish death upon them. I wish they kids rot in hell on my mouth. Because at the end of the day, these people operate like this every day. If you in their way, they going to mop you out their way, fam. They going to sweep you out the way. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You better find out something. Don't be in the way. Tell somebody, don't be in the way. I'm telling you. And then get rid of your ass. Let's go.
R3B, brother. A triangular craft. And
shut up, Nancy. Getting on my nerve, Nancy. You start to sound depressing, Nancy. Ugly ass.
A 60-year-old woman named Monica.
Talking about who in the mountains and all this. Real quick, hit that like button, double tap that screen. Don't forget, bam! You see the raffle, fam. It's all in your face. Raffle all in your face. All behind it. All the colors, all everything. You got no shirt, go get your shirt. You can order that thing directly with your boy, or you can just join a raffle. One man, one woman. Just drop it like it's hot, fam. Put that super chat up, that cash out. I'm telling you, fam, May is coming. The last Friday may come and you're going to have a chance. It's all going to be in there. Every man, every woman. You get your classic t-shirt from your boy Dilla T. You feel me? No Filter, sponsored by Nene Love Savvy TV always. That's really real. Don't forget too, if you a member, shoot me your email so you can join the Zoom fam. Cause we about to go up with our robot tonight, fam. And we about to cancel this out real quick. You feel me? Hit that like button, double tap that screen again. Shoot me that email for that Zoom. So you can hop in here so we can check out this iRobot so you can see how we coming. Because at the end of the day, we know robots about to take over the world. And we just trying to fit. Hey, you know what else I figured out too? I ain't know. Woo-woo. iRobot was based on 2035. So it says in there, in the year 2035, man and iRobots was working together. And I'm like, dang. When did it come out? Because once you see what you know about when it came out, fam, it kind of threw me out because when did iRobot come out, fam? When did they release that? Anybody let me know right now. In the comments, let me know right now. When iRobot came out and not even read that it says 2035 was based on 2035. And we over here in 2027 looking like coming up around the corner. And we're a couple years from 2030. Woo-woo. Let's go.
11 Americans, 4 states, 3 years. They all worked on something the U.S. government would rather keep quiet. And every single one of them is now missing or in the ground. Wow. And if you know where to look, a strangely similar list sits in a filing cabinet in London, dated 40 years ago. I'm Carol Ann. Welcome to the In-Between. Between 2023 and the first months of 2026, at least 10 American scientists, researchers, and government officials have either vanished without a trace or turned up dead. 5 of them simply walked away from their homes on foot. 4 of them worked within the same defense corridors in New Mexico. 3 were connected to the same NASA laboratory in California.
22 years ago.
2 were gunned down at their own front doors, and 1 was pulled from a frozen Massachusetts lake 3 months after he disappeared in the middle of the night. These cases were treated as isolated tragedies, unrelated. A missing
Hold on,
hiker
man.
here.
You telling me this man took a walk, somebody ran up on him and threw him in the lake. And then they find this man some days later or whatever, week later, he froze it in that thing, body done. He ain't throw himself in the water. A little within says 2004, iRobot hit theaters. So 2004, 2014, 2024, that's 20 years, 2025, 26, that's 22 years. Okay, so we've been rocking iRobot 22 years. And it's based on the story of 2035. Oh, that's interesting right there. That tells you a lot. Let's go.
Unsolved shooting there. But when you put the names side by side, the institutions start overlapping. The timelines start compressing, and a picture begins to form that nobody in power seems willing to look at. Now, as usual, we did our best to dig a little deeper. We found a couple of things that add some more perspective to what is going on today. But first, I need to take you to a mountain trail in California, because this story, for me, starts with a hiker who should not have disappeared. On the morning of June 22nd, 2025, a 60-year-old woman named Monica Resza sets out to summit Mount Waterman in the Angeles National Forest with 2 friends. Trailhead sits along the Angeles Crest Highway. The terrain is steep, dry, and mountainous, but Monica knows these trails. By multiple accounts, she's hiked this area regularly, possibly weekly. She's fit, she's experienced, she is in her element. The group departs the 6,000-foot trailhead around 6:30 a.m. Early start, which is what you want to do in the San Gabriels. Get up, get to the summit, get off the mountain before the afternoon heat turns the trail into an oven. Now, the identities of the fellow hikers has never been released, so I don't know if they're male or female. So I'm just going to refer to them as Jane and John. Jane throws in the towel after less than 1.5 miles because the terrain is just too steep. Monica and the lead hiker, John, they reach the summit around 8:15. Pictures are taken and they start heading back down. At about 9:01 a.m., a picture is taken of Monica near Double Delight Peak. A minute later, another picture, roughly 70 feet from the first. 6 minutes later, a third picture is taken, her last confirmed location, about a 1/4 mile from that second photo. Then they keep walking. John's about 30 feet ahead of Monica. He calls back up to let her know that a right turn is coming up on the ridge. Monica nods and waves at him. He makes the turn, descends about 150 feet. When he looks back, Monica is gone. He waits 5 minutes. Then he goes back to where he'd last seen her. Nothing. He calls her name. He searches about 500 feet to the west along the ridge and then 120 feet south. Nothing. No response, no sound, no sign of Monica Resza. Search and rescue from 6 counties respond. Helicopters with thermal imaging, forward-looking infrared cameras, dogs. They even run an algorithmic pixel matching program through their aerial photography equipment calibrated specifically to pick up the red of Monica's shirt. What? The technology flags some targets, but every time searchers go check them out, all they find are mild.
Hold on, man. This man said he did what? He turned and used the bathroom and looked back and she was gone. Is that what he said?
Thermal imaging, forward-looking infrared cameras, dogs. They even run an algorithmic pixel matching program through their aerial photography equipment calibrated specifically to pick up the red of Monica's shirt. The technology flags some targets, but every time searchers go check them out, all they find are mylar balloons caught in the brush. The next morning, a beanie belonging to Monica is found in a steep ravine south of the ridge, about 600 feet from where she was last seen. A 2 to 3 minute walk. Scent dogs are brought to the ravine, but can't pick up her trail. No entry point, no exit. She was not there. She'd never been there, as far as the dogs could tell. And yet, her beanie is. Later that afternoon, 2 hikers returning from Twin Peaks report hearing what sounded like a woman yelling around 2:30 p.m. But they also said it wasn't a cry for help or like somebody was in pain. It was more like somebody was crying out in anguish. The coordinates they give place the sound about 1,600 feet from Monica's last known position. Under a third of a mile, a 5-minute walk. Some people said it could have been a coyote. But if it was Monica, why could she scream then but not respond to her name being called hours earlier? If you've ever listened to David Paulides talk about his missing 411 cases, this story has every hallmark. An experienced hiker in familiar terrain vanishes within minutes while just a few feet away from another person. Dogs lose the scent. The body's never found. The search reveals almost nothing. And the details don't add up in ways that feel intentional, as if the case was designed to resist explanation. But here's where Monica's case takes a hard left from the standard missing hiker story. Because Monica Resza was not just a woman who liked the mountains. She was a materials scientist and aerospace engineer who worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL. Before that, she spent decades at a company called Aerojet Rocketdyne, where she co-invented a nickel-based superalloy called Mondalloy in the 90s, with her name on the patent coming in 2010.
See?
The Mon in Mondalloy stands for Monica.
Now her name on the patent. See that? Anything she made, her name on the patent, that's that forever. So it's a couple of reasons why they could have got rid of her. You know what I mean? The money, whatever. Also, she worked for NASA. You know I don't believe nothing NASA doing. And she know what's real or what ain't. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand, you knowing that if NASA not really real, but yet they telling the world it is, at some point you're going to have to get knocked off. because they can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
This alloy can withstand extreme temperatures and pressures in oxygen-rich environments without cracking or igniting. And it solved a problem that the United States had been unable to solve for decades. How to build a rocket engine as powerful and efficient as the Russian RD-180 without having to buy it from Russia. For years, the U.S. depended on Russian-built engines to launch its spy satellites, military communication systems, and GPS infrastructure into orbit. When Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, that put a little bit of a kink in the U.S. and Russia's aerospace romance. Thankfully, somebody could see the writing on the wall and started scaling up design of new engines, some that included Mondaloy, before the final breakup that happened in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. And because the US government didn't have nice things to say about that little move, Russia took its toys and went home, cutting off all support for their engines, including spare parts, troubleshooting, and technical assistance. The RD-180 engines that powered our Atlas rockets were suddenly orphan technology. No more service, no more replacements, and Monica superalloy became one of the most critical materials in the effort to build domestic alternatives. Multiple components in Aerojet Rocketdyne's AR-1 engine were made from Mondaloy. The Air Force funded it. NASA funded it. The alloy wasn't just for rocket engines either. Its ability to survive extreme conditions makes it applicable to hypersonic weapons, missile systems, and next-gen propulsion across the board. And the man who oversaw that funding at the Air Force Research Laboratory was a two-star general named William Neal McCasland. But we'll talk about him in a minute, because Monica's disappearance was just the beginning. And the names that follow will show you that this is not a story about one missing hiker. It's a story about a pattern that stretches across 3 states, spans 3 years, and touches some of the most sensitive programs in the United States.
So they had to get rid of all of them. That's what that sounds like. They said they had to get rid of all of them. She made the product. He was the one that could oversee the money. And yet they still, oh, this is crazy work right here, boy. When you talking about, oh, this is diabolical work right here, man. Hit that like button, become a member. We about to get on this Zoom, become a member. Got about 3 minutes, become a member.
States government. Around May 4th, 2025, roughly 7 weeks before Monica vanished, the 78-year-old man named Anthony Chavez is last seen at his home in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Anthony had retired from Los Alamos National Laboratory in 2017 after decades of work there. His specific role has never been disclosed, which, if you know anything about Los Alamos, tells you something all by itself. When family and authorities search his house, they find his wallet, his keys, and his personal belongings all sitting right where he'd left them. His car is locked in the driveway. No signs of forced entry, no sign of struggle. Anthony Chavez simply is just gone. He has never been found. So, not even 2 months later is when Monica disappears. And 4 days after that, on June 26, 2025, 53-year-old Melissa Cassius vanishes. She worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory as an administrative employee, but she held a security clearance. Given the nature of what goes on behind those fences, administrative doesn't mean what it means at your local insurance office. That morning, Melissa drives her husband Mark to Los Alamos where they both work. Now, here's a detail that doesn't get enough attention. The story is that Melissa tells her husband she forgot her badge and would have to work from home that day. But to enter the parking lot at Los Alamos, you need your badge to get through the gate. She had it when she dropped him off. So what happened to it between the gate and the explanation? At some point during the day, Melissa picks up a sandwich and drops it off for her daughter and Taos. Then she vanishes. She is last seen walking eastbound along a state road near Tulpa in Taos County. When her family gets home,
real life. I like how she explaining it,
and both,
because she really explaining each person's situation and how they all link together. You feel what I'm saying? I could watch her.
Of her cell phones, her personal one and the one for work. Both phones had been factory reset. Wiped clean. Recent calls, messages, everything gone.
Whoa.
Her family has pushed back hard against any suggestion that she left voluntarily. They pointed out that she was actively planning to care for her mother during an upcoming surgery. Melissa Cassius is still missing. Stephen Garcia, 48 years old, government contractor employed at the Kansas City National Security Campus facility in Albuquerque, which manufactures over 80% of the non-nuclear components that go into building the U.S.'s nuclear weapons. And this company is directly downstream from Los Alamos. Basically, Los Alamos dreams it up, and Kansas City National Security builds it. His job gave him top secret clearance and oversight of assets worth tens of millions, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, some classified, some not.
Wow.
On August 28th, 2025, so just 2 months after Melissa goes missing, surveillance footage captures Stephen leaving his Albuquerque home on foot around 9 a.m. He's carrying a handgun. He left behind his phone, his wallet, his keys, and his car. Authorities initially said he might be a danger to himself, but an anonymous source close to the case pushed back, describing him as a very stable person. Stephen Garcia has not been seen since. Wow. That is 4 people, all connected to classified defense and nuclear programs, all vanishing from New Mexico within a span of about 4 months. And I need you to notice the pattern in how they all vanished, because it is almost identical in every case. They walk away on foot. They leave behind their phones, their wallets, their keys, their cars. No signs of a struggle, no evidence of forced entry, no ransom demands, no bodies. They just step out of their lives as though they were shedding a skin. And the devices that could track them, the phones that ping cell towers, the smartwatches that log GPS coordinates, every single one of those gets left behind. Every time. It's the kind of behavior that screams deliberate. But deliberate by whom? Did these people choose to vanish?
No.
Were they told to?
Yeah.
Or did someone who understands counter surveillance strip them of everything traceable before making them disappear?
Right.
I don't know. But keep pondering that while we head to Massachusetts. On the night of December 12th, 2025, a 45-year-old man named Jason Thomas left his home in Wakefield, Massachusetts. Jason was an associate director of chemical biology at Novartis, working on cancer treatments. He and his wife had just come home from dinner with friends, and everything seemed normal. They took care of the dogs, and Jason tells his wife he's going for a walk.
Somebody was waiting on
the front door and walks down the street into the darkness with his phone and his wallet still in the house. Surveillance footage captures him walking near train tracks shortly after midnight, and then he's gone.
Because why?
3 months later, in March, after the ice thaws on Lake Quinnipiac, his body is recovered from the water. No cause of death has been publicly released. Authorities say no foul play is suspected, but they haven't explained how he ended up in that lake or why. 3 days after Jason Thomas vanished, on December 15th, 2025, a man named Nuno Loureiro is shot at the front door of his home in Brookline, Massachusetts, and dies the next day.
Wow.
Nuno was a Portuguese physicist and director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. He held research contracts with the Department of Energy. The suspect in his killing, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, shot up Brown University 2 days earlier, killing 2 people and injuring 9 more before hitting Nuno's front porch, then deleted himself the next day inside a storage unit. So we will never know for sure why. Now, Nuno and Claudio were not strangers. They went to college together in Lisbon many years ago, and it is said that Claudio held a grudge against Brown University for being too easy and having bad cafeteria food, and against Nuno for him achieving the life that Claudio had always wanted but never got. Okay, seems a little out there, but those people certainly exist. Now, let's flip back to California. Carl Grillmer was a 67-year-old Caltech astrophysicist who had spent decades working.
And we hate that what happened in the manner that it happened, because at the end of the day, we know what happened. Even though we don't know, we know what happened. This activity don't tell me nothing but 007 secret something and some reserve somebody that pulled up each of one by one and got at each of them one by one. It's just like, what's that one movie Will Smith was in, that other movie, Enemy of the State? Woo woo. Remember that? They had them things in his shoe, in his glasses, in his pen. They had the satellite rocking him wherever he walked to, wherever he go. I mean, and that was back then. It's 2026. They can use liquid and track you like they doing with the COVID and all of that. With the Wi-Fi, they can track liquid through Wi-Fi. What? So you better know we are totally behind. And it matters for us to inform and be aware so we can catch up with what's really going on, fam. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Hey, don't forget, become a member right now. You can join the Zoom. We can get on this iRobot, but I'm going to tell you right now, as always, fam, I wasn't playing. You know what it is and what it ain't. Monday through Friday, your boy Dilla T right here with fam. As always, I appreciate you pulling up, man. You see what the topic was. 11 folks, scientists, gone, or missing, or just going through it. But at the end of the day, we need you to know what's going on, because they might be in your neighborhood. They might be in your area. You might see somebody and have to speak up and be like, that look like one of them right there. So as always, family, you need to understand that we're here to inform, understand, and be aware that if it walk like a, talk like a, we know what it is. And we getting ducks up out of here, family. As always, I truly appreciate your time, your love, your support, the opportunity to be able to learn you something so you can join something that's more than you and that's better than whatever we doing. And that's making sure that each and every one of us are together and that we all know what's going on, family. As always, never forget, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Make sure you get you something to eat, something to drink, and something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, fam. You in here with your boy Dilla T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, fam. Have a good weekend. Y'all be safe. Lock your doors. Keep that hammer on your side. God bless.